Hello, everyone. Welcome to another captivating episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com. Technology and innovation are expanding their footprints at a breakneck speed in India's real estate sector. Reports indicate robust growth in the proptech market, projected to rise 9.6% annually from 2021 to 2025, with a valuation likely reaching $100 billion by 2030. PropTech companies like Housing.com have reported significant growth in both website and app traffic thanks to the integration of artificial intelligence or AI, which has led to improved consumer experiences. For instance, Housing.com reported 0.66 million app downloads as of March 2024, up 48% from January 2021. The company firmly believes that AI integration significantly enhances the consumer experience in real estate by simplifying home searches, navigating complex variables such as neighborhood selection, pricing, and configurations for discerning customers. To help us understand these trends, we have with us Mr. Sangeet Aggarwal, Head of Product and Design at Housing.com and proptech.com. Hello and a warm welcome, Sangeet. Delighted to have you on the show.
Same here, Gaurav. Thanks for inviting me.
Sangeet, last time you were here on this show, I remember we discussed how tech adoption has accelerated the growth of platforms like Housing.com and how companies are engaging in this new world.
Yeah,
Much water has flown, and now AI and ML or machine learning have become buzzwords over the last year or so. We'd like to hear your perspective on how you see these technologies evolving, Sangeet.
sure. No, thanks for that, Gaurav. I keep getting asked this question quite often now, so it's a good start. My personal take, Gaurav, is, I mean, when we talk about sectors, let's say prop tech, right, real estate,
Yeah,
especially in Indian market, uh, sectors where inherently the processes are relatively more complex, more complicated, right? Let's say if you look at the home buying journey, right? Uh, as we have all experienced, finding a home is not easy by any measure, even today, right?
right,
It's a long, drawn out process. You look at so many variables, so you talk to so many people out there, and it takes a lot of like few months before you're able to finalize the dream home, right? Uh, my personal take is areas where it's relatively the experience is still complicated. That's where AI will have the maximum impact in terms of uplifting the experience for consumers out there. When we talk about specifically for PropTech, um, uh, like I mentioned, there are just so many avenues where PropTech, where AI can create a dent, right? So, for
right,
example, whether it's let's say neighborhood selection, affordability of properties out there, pricing, the age, like the old question around buying versus renting.
right,
Uh, maybe finding a home that's near to your school or workplace,
right,
right? So I see a lot of value where that AI brings to the table,
right.
where as I mentioned earlier, for a regular user or a regular person, it still takes a lot of time to find answers. Even traditionally, when we use, let's say, current tools like chat gpt,
Hmm.
the wow factor or the magic
Yeah,
kicks in once you ask something very, like a very like a question which otherwise would take you an hour, and
yeah,
ChatGPT is able to give you that answer in like 15 seconds or 10 seconds max.
absolutely.
So yeah, that's my personal take on how AI can impact some of the
Mhm.
sectors, and
Yeah,
specifically the prop sector that we work in.
absolutely. No, that's a great learning for our viewers and listeners, and it's also a good segue to get into the next question. It's an obvious question. You know, it is how is Housing.com or platforms like Housing.com, particularly
Yeah.
Housing.com, has adopted these technologies to enhance the consumer experience. Uh, in your view, do you think AI is going to be a game changer for the home search experience, or do you think it's just another passing tech trend? It's a passing phase which will probably peaking now and it's going to plateau at some point in time in the future. And related, also could you touch upon the tools you are deploying to help home buyers make more informed decisions, Sangeet?
Okay, sure. No, Gaurav, so I don't think it's just another tech trend
Hmm.
in terms of the value that it brings to the table. And then I gave some context to earlier, right? So when in terms of how we are leveraging AI right now, I would say first of all, upfront, we are still learning ourselves also, right? Still trying to understand
Right.
what are the areas where this can bring most value. But I'll touch upon a few areas that we are working on. Uh, if you look at the Indian real estate market, and you talk to most people out there, that the biggest pain point still remains around, let's say, not having the right content when they're browsing online, right? Sometimes there are a lot of clickbait listings, a lot of, let's say, underpriced properties, right? And that we've seen is usually the biggest like a point of disappointment for the consumer. So that's a priority area, how we can leverage AI and ML to help solve some of these information asymmetries out there, especially when it comes to the browsing experience on our platform. The second big area that we see, Gaurav, is as I was mentioning earlier, how we can build a more seamless search experience.
Hmm.
Right now, the traditional experience is still around. You go put some filters, check some results, and then you keep going back and forth, right? Before you're able to zero down on the right properties that you want to
Hmm.
check out in the market. I think this whole process, whole browsing experience can be made much more seamless. So that's another area we are working on, where you just tell what's top of your mind. For example, you can just tell us, I'm looking for a property, let's say in Gurgaon, like a 3 bedroom, preferably a 4 bedroom, let's say priced at a 2 CR, that's near to my child's school,
Hmm.
also very near to my office, right? Which otherwise takes would take you a lot of time to get to the right property. So that's an area we're working, that we can make this much more seamless, and we're very confident our users will find a lot of value there. Uh, the other area, the third area I would like to touch upon is personalization, Gaurav. So, I mean, at the end of the day, people still sort of, it's an on and off process, right? Real estate or even
Yeah.
renting. You see a few properties, you come back, discuss with your family, then you go back again in the market. So we see a lot of scope for personalization along this, like a long journey.
Hmm.
Uh, once we get to know the users slightly better, what they're looking for, what their top of mind preferences are, we can personalize their journey for real estate. So that's a third big area where we see AI will play a big role.
Hmm.
Traditionally, there have been machine learning algorithms in the past, but I think with the advent of AI and what it can bring to the table, that's the third thing where we'll see a step change. So
Hmm.
these are some of the few areas slash tools that we're currently working on, Gaurav.
And lastly, but perhaps the most important question in everyone's mind is, what's the next big thing in AI that we should be looking out for? And I'll give an example. And you know,
Okay.
because artificial intelligence is evolving so very rapidly, and
Yeah.
technological obsolescence is so rapid, and it kind of it probably is a textbook example of the process of creative destruction that is taking place in a witnessing in front of our very eyes. For example, ChatGPT, which you alluded to, is widely recognized as a synonym for generative AI at this point in time. But
Yeah.
it is also facing very very stiff competition
Yeah.
from companies such as Google and also other similar platforms and innovation and innovative companies that are coming out with even more efficient solutions, more efficient in the GNAI space than perhaps ChatGPT is or
Yeah.
could be. Uh, in your view, what could be the next big thing or the next big change of a similar magnitude, particularly in the prop tech space, Sangeet?
Yeah. Interesting question, Gaurav. Like you rightly mentioned, few call outs. My sense is like the whole core Gen AI slash LLMs will get commoditized very soon. They're already being commoditized, right? So I think it'll become very difficult for any company to differentiate solely on that particular factor. Um, when we look at the use cases right now, a lot of current use cases are either very academic. Some of those cases you mentioned. When we look at some of the big companies or big enterprises globally, my sense is everybody's just scratched the surface. For example, most of the use cases have been, let's say, automating chat support, customer support, right? Uh, which is still let's say day one in that sense. I still haven't seen any big enterprise globally making a impact on the core experience, right? For the customers, whether it's an online business or an offline business, it goes for both. My sense is the next couple of years, everyone is experimenting, building tools on the side. I think the biggest change we'll see in the core experience is the way we shop, the way we consume content online.
Right.
Very difficult to predict what would be the next wave in terms of the tech, core tech, like what you asked. But I think mostly the focus or slash surprises we'll see in the core experiences,
Right.
the day to day things we do,
Yeah.
uh, in terms of the experience that we have across both, like I mentioned, both online as well as retail offline experiences as well.
Sangeet, thank you so much for
Sure.
sharing your insights. It's such a pleasure to talk to you and delight to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time out and dropping by to have this conversation with us.
Sure. Any day. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Gaurav. Take care.
So that's it from us for this episode. We shall be back again with a fresh episode of Keeping It Real by Housing.com with information and insights on the real estate industry. Whether you are a pro or a beginner, we are here to keep you informed and entertained in the world of Indian real estate. This is Keeping It Real by Housing.com, where we keep it real always. You can catch the episode on Housing.com, on the Housing.com app, on the YouTube channel of Housing.com, on Earshot.in, Spotify.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Ghana.com, and JioSavan. Take care and stay safe.